Hello, everybody. I'm Ben Coleman, one of your hosts here at the Florida Aviation Network, and we're here live in the clear from Sun and Fun. This is 2015, the 41st annual Sun and Fun Fly-In and Expo here at Lakeland Linder Regional Airport. And it's always a pleasure to bring all these compelling stories to you. And we're all about safety. This is the whole purpose of this forum here with Obi, the crew, all of our volunteer folks on the cameras, and this is coming again live, and we're out to as far as we can reach. We're streaming right now, and our folks in the field, our troops, hang in there, keep your head down, roll, and duck and cover. And for our folks watching from the comfort of your living room, wishing that you were here, we kind of do too, but there's always next year. And the beauty part of this, and what I really enjoy about bringing these safety messages to you, are all the very interesting and talented guests that we have lined up for you. And speaking of which, here today we have some folks. Anybody ever watch television and see a show called Airplane Repo? It's a hoot. It sometimes gets dramatic, it sometimes gets funny, but it's very, very serious, and it's serious business. And here to explain how that serious business is done safely is Ken Cage.
Yes, sir.
Ken's to my immediate left. Ken, welcome.
Ben, thank you so much for having
And
us.
just for the purposes of the benefit of the crowd, Danny
Thompson, thanks to meet you, sir.
check that out, huh? That's how you pick up an airplane or a person that's going to stop you from picking up an airplane.
It's all safety.
Danny Thompson, it's all safety. Ken, tell us a little bit. We'll start with Ken, then roll over to Danny, because I'm afraid he's going to pound me if I don't. Ken, tell us, what is your role with Airplane Repo?
Well, I own the company International Recovery and Remarketing Group. We're based out of Orlando, Florida, and our company repossesses boats and airplanes. So my job is to go out and try and get those cases, and then I kind of oversee them. I'm on every case, so I've done 1,800 repos in the last 9 years of boats and airplanes.
1,800 repos.
1,800 repos. Yes, sir.
Does anything good come out of it? Because normally repossession it kind of has a negative connotation of something bad.
Sure.
Well, it's only bad, I guess, if you hadn't paid for your stuff. What's the good side of repossession?
Well, honestly, we've had several cases over the years where the debtors have more or less thanked us. I've got thank you notes in my office because we handle it properly. This can be a very difficult situation for folks to go through, embarrassing. We try and take that away. We try and preserve their dignity throughout. So I've gotten thank you notes from people. I've got folks here in Florida that have told me their story and said, you're helping me start over because you're taking a burden off of me that I'm trying to maintain. So if we take the airplane, they don't pay the bills for that, guess what? They can pay for their house and keep their house instead of trying to pay for everything. So a lot of people don't see it that way, but if they can't afford the aircraft, they can't afford other things. So by taking the aircraft, we allow them to keep their house and get back on their feet a little quicker.
Well, that's a side of the house that we don't always check on.
Correct.
When you talk about repossession. Oh no, they're going to come repossess my car, my boat, or my airplane. But on the other flip side of that, and I can't help but think felony. Sorry, Danny. Look at you. Talk to us, Dan, about is it Dan or Danny?
Danny.
Danny.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Because I don't want to offend you.
Oh, you're good, bro. Yeah. you got
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of the felony activity and what your role is with Airplane Repo.
Basically, my role is to make sure the security and everything is tight for Mr. Cage. We have no conflicts of any kind. He does his job successfully without any interference. And basically, that's what I do. You know, I'm an ex-bounty hunter with over 3,500 arrests. So did through a couple interviews and went through a final interviews with Ken, and 15 minutes later we were getting mic'd up and starting to film.
Good.
Yeah.
The term bouncer just kind of bounces into my head. Has that ever come up? I mean,
Bouncer?
Yeah.
I have been a bouncer probably most of my life, you know, from one coast to the other coast. But not no more. I don't bounce no more. I got into the bail bond business, owned my own company for 14 years, and just got really into the fugitive recovery.
Danny, I can't help but pick up on your. You got that. You learn. Where did you learn how to speak proper English?
Proper English is spoken in North Carolina.
Attaboy.
There you
'Cause,
go.
Yeah, I was raised in Winston-Salem.
Oh, okay.
That's where I learned the proper pronunciation of words.
Other people just don't
as a
speak
Tar
like it.
Heel.
I'm a huge Tar Heel fan.
Yeah.
I got my Tar Heel blue one, so hopefully that
Attaboy.
helps you.
Kent, tell us a little bit more. Let's develop a little bit out of the storyline about how safety plays into your operation, because obviously some things that we do are not always safe. I
Correct.
guess if you use the term properly, free from harm. But how do you guys integrate safety into what you do, and to make sure that the outcome is a planned outcome and not an unplanned one?
Well, honestly, Danny and I are both private investigators, so we have that background. We spend a lot of time before the case in the office or over the phone saying, what do you see on this debtor? What do you see on the family? What do you see on the business that could be a concern? Once we get in the field, Danny's got the whole perimeter, he's got the area completely secure.
Correct.
So you talk about eyes in the back of your head, he's got them, so which is great. Once we get the asset, once we get the aircraft, that's really where the safety, even more to me, is more important, because we're flying airplanes that we don't know anything about. If they haven't been paid for in 3 or 4 months, they haven't been maintained in 6, 8, 10 months. So they're unknown aircraft. So that's where both of us then kind of surround the plane, look out for the pilot, and give him all the time he needs to make sure that aircraft is safe to fly. If it's not safe to fly, we'll tug it across the field and lock it up somewhere, which we've done many, many, many times. But he has area security. We kind of both watch over as the pilot, make sure the aircraft is safe to fly. If it's not, boom, done. We'll tug it over and lock it up.
I probably shouldn't go here, but I am anyway, because I've already started.
That's fine.
It's kind of hard. Once you go in, you can't talk about going in. You just got to go in. Not all of the aircraft or boat or marine repos that you make would be good, compelling TV. How do you pick and choose which ones are going to be? Okay, this is a hot one. This will make great TV. How do you vet out which ones are actually televised?
In all honesty, we've probably done an extra 8 or 10 episodes that haven't made air because they're not good stories. So again, it comes down to, Danny, you investigate the debtors and the families, and you'll be like, this.
Backgrounds. Yeah.
And if he sees something, red alert, and he'll call and say, this might be a good one.
Interesting. And again, to develop you do over 1,800. You have done up to 1,800.
Over the last 9 years, I've
9
done over
years,
1,800. Yep.
That's busy.
Yeah, I've
That's
done 9
good.
in one day.
And I'm sure that Airplane Repo is just in the Central Florida area, or it's just U.S. It's national, isn't it?
Yeah, it's international. It's shown internationally. It's filmed primarily nationally, but next week we've got a big case down in one of the Virgin Islands that we're going to go to and taking a crew, and hopefully, you said it's going to be a good case.
It's going to be a good case. I've done a little bit of background on it.
Oh, okay. Since we're live, and to put you on the spot,
Go for it.
give us some cliff notes of what we might expect in the Virgin Islands, without giving the storyline away.
This guy here, he has some felony warrants out on. He's had in the past for weapons, some drug charges, and kind of leave it there for right now. So it kind of gives us a ball field what we're looking for and what we might get ourselves into.
Okay.
So
The other part of it that the network's always looking at is value. They don't want to see us picking up a $22,000 airplane. So there's multiple assets at stake here, multiple millions of dollars, and one of them we both know is a potential drug running aircraft. So put all that together, we're nervous, and the network's like, yes, this is great. So they have a different perspective, but it should be a fun one. Hopefully it turns out that way.
Now, I've got to admit, I've seen some of the shows where there's been some potential gunfire involved, because you go on their property, and they are of the strict interpretation of the Second Amendment. And have there been any exchanges that you can talk about without someone getting actually hurt or damaged?
I'll let you go there.
Well, the one thing is I am a licensed repossession agent. So with that, we have more strict laws as to what we can and can't do. Most of the situations we see, Danny's able to kind of calm them down. The reason you wanted me to sit between you two is the reason why a lot of debtors don't go and start too much trouble right away. So most of the overly aggressive stuff happen right after the repossession, once the pilot has it. So I've been chased around a field with a shovel. We've been shot at. That NFL guy was going. So we've had a lot of. I got hit by a car once trying to block the plane. So it happens. People are just a little upset, and we just help them work through it.
Well, and I'm sure emotions are high, and it's really a very dynamic situation. I use the term properly, dynamic. There's just a lot of moving parts going on.
Fast too. Everything's happening. Boom, 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 boom.
What do we see in the future for Airplane Repo? I mean, more of the same. You're going to twist it up a little bit, or how? Where are we going to go from here?
Wherever they tell us.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll continue to get additional seasons. We're hopeful about that. So as soon as we can make announcements on that, we certainly will. But when you're doing 200 repos a year, and we've got this guy handling security, you know it's going to be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be stuff to show. So I think the big thing is it's a love affair for all of us for aviation, which is why you've got the other fellows involved as well. It's just we want to show this in the right light so people can really understand what goes on in this part, the unknown part. We have to call in every repo to the local police department, and I'll call in and say I'm calling in a repossession of an airplane, and they'll stop me. Well, how do you do that? I'm like, really? I've got a debtor chasing me with a gun. Can I call you back? And so even the police don't know this happens. So I think there's a lot of information, a lot of stories we can tell and show to pretty much an unknown part of the economy.
Well, Ken and Danny, we're here at Sun and Fun, and it's the second largest aviation event in the nation. What have you been able to do or see, or what has really compelled you here so far here at Sun and Fun?
This is your first one, right?
It's my first. Yeah, I'm really amazed. I mean, just the aviation people that gather like this is just more than I thought. It really truly amazes me.
Well, and what people don't realize are there's over, right around 600,000 pilots, which is just a small cross-section of the industry, or of the nation, the world, the population. But so many people are interested in aviation. We got a lot of closet pilots, closet mechanics, and this is a good forum to bring them to where we all have kind of a common interest.
Yes.
Things that go up.
And fast.
And fast. Oh, and some of them just like to go slow. They've gone fast enough. And what is the largest aircraft that you guys have come up with?
Well, we did a trifecta. We did 3 727s from one debtor. One was in Venezuela and 2 were in the States. So we had to kind of coordinate that and go 1, 1, 1. So that was the biggest total package. I've done a 737. Some more expensive private aircraft like a G150 I did. It was worth over $20 million. I've done a bunch of G3s, G4s, you name it. I mean, we've done almost every type of aircraft out there.
Do you have do you have benchmarks? I mean, do you have a wall of fame that of all the different models that?
Well, Danny will tell you, I'm kind of Rain Man when it comes to this stuff.
Okay.
So we're driving down and I'll see a tail and I'm like, oh, I repossessed that one out of such and such, or any airport. It's
It amazes me. How do you do this?
We
And he's correct. I go, oh man.
We were in Brownfield last week in San Diego, and I'm like, oh, I picked up a 337 push-pull. It was bad cobweb, the whole thing, and bird's nests, and so I kind of have it here, but I haven't put it out on paper yet. No.
So 274 toothpicks. All right, I got you.
That'll work.
And again, we're all about safety here
Yes,
at
sir.
Florida Aviation Network. What process? I mean, I'm sure you use checklists and go through this, that. I know Mike and Valerie, and as a matter of fact, Ed Rice. He's another one of the guys that kind of help move airplanes around with you guys. And it's interesting in that there's a lot more that goes into what you guys do that's not televised. Because, okay, how exciting is it to see somebody going through a checklist? Okay, come on now.
No, not at all.
Now, every now and then you'll see somebody go into the creeper and grab a landing gear component. But what can we do to develop more of the safety aspect? Because every now and then I will hear that wouldn't be safe. We can't do that. How do we develop a little bit more of that, either in an epilogue or something to let people know that, look, don't try this at home, folks. Not just anybody can hop in an airplane and go.
Yeah, that's a great point, because there are a bunch of companies, and we mentioned this just recently, that got into this industry in 2009, 2010. You know, I was on the front cover of the Wall Street Journal. All of a sudden, 10 new companies pop up that think they can do it. So you're absolutely right about that. Remember, you're seeing 2-3 days worth of a repo cut down to 14 minutes. So you're missing most of it. I mean, when Danny and I are sitting there in a car for 3 hours eating a sandwich and having a soda trying to see somebody moving, it's not in there. Same with the safety stuff. I mean, I'm not a pilot, Danny's not a pilot. I'm a licensed repo guy, he's a licensed bounty hunter. So between us, we keep that plane safe. And if a pilot tried to move an aircraft without 100% clearing that it was safe, then he would never fly for us again. So that's rule number one, and all my pilots know that. I mean, we've used probably 60, 70 different pilots around the country. And every one of them is committed to that. If they're not going to work with us. And now we have the government contract too for the aircraft. So they had to go through these detailed processes to make sure everything's clean, everything's safe, and the pilots know, don't even think about it. We can lock it up and get it fixed. So they're committed to that as well.
Speaking of government, our former agency, or my former employer, how do you interact with the FAA? I mean, do they get involved with any of your repossessions, or what is your interaction with the FAA, if any? I don't know. There may not be.
It's always been very positive. They've been a great resource. It's been a cooperative effort, because we're not doing anything that would upset them. So we have a great communication with a lot of the guys in the FAA. We've got nothing to hide, and we lean on them for answers. So it's been great. Every person we've dealt with in the FAA has been fantastic for us. They've been just more than willing to ask the questions that need to be asked and give us the information that we need to make sure we're continuing to do it in the most safe manner. They're great.
And when we trip across the line of, okay, you picked up an asset that has been defaulted on and got it back in the hands of the new or the rightful owners, how many other lines do you guys trip across as far as the criminal or the felonious activity that kind of is an offshoot of what your business is to recover an asset?
It's you.
I'll let you lead it off and I'll finish it up as we do that. So,
I mean, if we see something, Danny has so many contacts in different law enforcement agencies that, for example, one time we went to a case to pick up an aircraft, went to the debtor's house. He had a box trailer in the backyard where he locked his kids in it. Stop, cut, Danny knows somebody, he makes the call, and you can say how it goes from there.
yeah, make a phone call to the appropriate people. Always go to the local police and get their assistance. Like I said, other stuff's first before a repo, especially if somebody's life's in danger. We can always get a repo, but taking care of somebody's life or a kid, something like that, it's always number one.
And as far as how do you, I'm just fascinated about how you get around. I mean, all modes. I mean, rental cars. You don't have the black van like another. We won't go there. But how do you just get around? I mean, it's.
Well, Danny says the most difficult mode possible, but I don't know that that's true. He's had a couple where he's had to stop 3 or 4 times to get across the country. We do commercial. Unless we repossess something that's going towards the next repo, then we'll hop on the repossession. But mostly it's commercial, it's rental cars, it's sleeping in these horrible hotels. We don't dress fancy. Some people wear black masks and black shirts, and it's like, really? I mean,
too obvious.
You read too many
stick
comic
out.
books there. It's like,
Ninja repo agent.
Yeah, you
right,
go.
exactly.
Exactly.
Look at me. I mean, do I look like a ninja? So we're able to talk to people more because we don't try and pretend to be something we're not. And that's how we get a lot of leads, a lot of openings, a lot of assistance, because we can just talk to people.
Where do we go from here? Are you going to, do you want to grow your company or your business, or have you reached your critical mass? I mean, this is enough. Let's fine tune what we have, or what can we do to help you?
We always are looking for more clients. I mean, I personally feel we have the best service to offer between the two of us and our crew, as far as banks, attorneys, whatever. I mean, 1,800 repos and 0 lawsuits. That should say something. It's a litigious business we're in. People are always looking to sue, and we've never been sued. So that shows that you mentioned the safety. We're going above and beyond. The gray area is not even a consideration. It's got to be all straight and narrow. And having obviously Danny with me makes it a lot easier to stay straight and narrow. There's no.
I keep him on the straight path.
Yeah. And I try and return the favor. So, we're always looking for more banks, more attorneys that need assistance. We also broker these things. So that's the thing. When a lender or an attorney calls me, they can say, "Here's the tail number." That's all I need. I'll get you the airplane. We'll sell the airplane for top dollar. We'll get you your money back as quick as possible. So we offer the best service to people. Banks and attorneys, they can trust us. They won't get in any trouble. So that's where we're looking to grow is the financial side a little more.
Wow. And Ken and Danny, I know you're obviously a robust man, and there's no getting around that.
Like to eat.
But it's very important to have that certain persona. I mean, because to be honest with you, I would be concerned to find a 110-pound, fair-haired. All due respect to 110-pound people with fair hair, no disrespect. However, I would. You stand them side by side. Danny's a bouncer. Felipe is a bouncer. I'm going to go with Danny. How do you work to keep yourself in that condition?
Yeah, I'm a regular workout, at least 4 to 5 times a week. Try to keep it 2 hours a day, Only thing I watch as far as eating is how much I can eat. That's my only bad part. But yeah, I used to be a competitive power lifter when I was a little bit younger, and I've just stayed into lifting. It's part of my life.
He's being humble too. He's also a trained martial arts person. So not only is he strong enough to tear you apart, he knows how to. That's the scarier part. Yeah. So he's
just
got
a little
the whole
simple
package.
stuff. Simple stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the simple stuff.
But again, you guys, you wear it well. But
Thank you.
and I would encourage anybody that's viewing this, if you have the build and you got the genes, I mean, develop yourself. And he's a perfect example of a success. And Ken, you obviously you're a businessman, and you're a PI. And how did you groom yourself to your role right now as far as the success of airplanes and marine repos?
It's funny, the question I get is, how did you get into this, right? Because nobody even knows it's an option. I was the head of security at a hospital in Philadelphia that was 24 square blocks. So that helped with my investigative stuff. I mean, I cut crime in a year by 88% in Center City, Philly. So it was, learning the tools and, the cameras and all the devices for watching people and tracking people. And that was a good training. Then I went to Chrysler, and I was a manager for a collections team that was trying to get past due notes paid for, and we were paying the repo agents to go get them. So I learned the back office stuff. What the people that are hiring me, I know what they do because I've done it. I also know what they don't want to see in a repo man because I've seen it and I'm like, oh, he's got to go. So like all that kind of stuff between the investigation and the business side, doing the collections, being the back office, I think gives us kind of an advantage, a perspective that no other repo person has. And I think that allows us to act as professionally as we do and do things the way that the bank wants to see them done.
Your business, how can you tell me, or would you mind exposing how large is your company? How many folks are under your employment?
The thing is, it's a case by case basis. So we subcontractors, we contract most of the work out. So I've got over 30 boat captains I can call right away, and that number is always growing. I've got about 75 different pilots that I can use, depending on the ratings and whatnot. So I've got pilots everywhere that we can use. I've got contacts in the field all over. Our office staff is 6 people, and then the rest are investigators, pilots, and captains that we hire based on the case. So probably about 110 people we use a year.
Wow, that's a thriving business.
We're trying.
And I'm just curious, again, a lot of curiosity questions and some things that out of respect for both of you, more so for Danny, I won't get into in front of the cameras, but we always are trying to find out what we can do to induce people into this industry. And I know that's probably not on your scale of on your goals and objectives on your business plan of how to bring in little kids to help learn how to repossess aircraft. However, that is part of the ingredient, and what our youth need to know is available out there for another role in life, another something that, wow, I'd like to grow up and do that. Because you guys can mentor a lot of kids. Have you introduced any of that into your shows or your?
Not into the show. I speak at several different schools a year. I probably speak to 1,000, 1,500 students a year live. So I try and get out there. I know Danny does a lot of the same stuff. I coach baseball nonstop. So, I always try and talk to the kids. And now with the show, more people realize it is an option. So we get Facebook and Twitter and texts and emails all the time from kids, and we try and respond to them. And we're letting them know it's out there. It is an option. I always tell them, you have to go to college, get that degree, preferably criminal justice or some investigation stuff, but you have to go to college if you ever want to work for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, the common thread here is helping people.
Yes.
And the set, the crew, all the volunteers, we're really here to help you. And actually, you guys, in some fact, they might not believe it, but in a different manner, you're trying to help people.
Exactly.
And it sounds like you're succeeding at doing it. And more important, you're sharing it with the world, literally. Brazil, Australia, I know the show is very, very popular all around the world.
Yeah.
And I wish you nothing but more success and the best.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Guys, take it easy, and we're going to sign off for now. And another compelling group of, I don't know if they'd be quite as dynamic and fill a chair up like Danny, but we're going to go for another interview here at the 41st Annual Sun and Fun Fly-In and Expo. Ben Coleman, see you later.